Under the roof of the Bernabeu, a match that should have been measured by goals and tactics instead cracked open like a secret. The scoreboard read a narrow win, but the real story lived in the team sheet, where Vinicius Jr., until recently treated like untouchable royalty, was listed among the substitutes, a choice that rippled through the stadium and across the internet like an urgent siren. From the first whistle, fans and pundits whispered not about the formations, but about what it means when a player who had been spoken of in Ballon d'Or terms is left waiting on the bench for a Champions League opener. The game itself finished 2-1 in Madrid's favour, but the result was almost incidental to the conversation that followed. Why bench one of your loudest weapons for a European tie? Sportable Xabi Alonso's stance was terse and principled, a reminder that selection at the club is being treated as meritocratic, that no individual is above the plan. That sometimes the manager will make choices that feel brutal in the moment, but are intended to preserve balance. And he said as much when asked to explain the decision, underlining that nobody should feel offended by not starting and that the squad needs to be ready to contribute in many ways. What electrified the night, though, wasn't the coach's reasoning but the human detail. When the final whistle blew, Vinicius was the first player to leave the pitch, his face closed, movements clipped. A visible flare of frustration that viewers interpreted as more than match tiredness. It read like a bruise. Those gestures matter because they are evidence of a relationship under strain, and because football, more than other sports, is a theatre where body language is a language. Minutes after the game, the winger posted a stark black and white image and a song clip on social media. A move quickly labelled a cryptic by reporters and fans, and the combination of that post with his demeanour in the stadium widened the story from simple rotation to a narrative with stakes. Is this a professional hiccup, or is it the beginning of a deeper disconnect? This is not entirely uncharted territory. Observers noted that this benching was the second such decision in a short run of matches, prompting debate about whether Vinicius' performances this season, his attacking returns and his defensive adaptation to Alonso's game model, have dipped enough to justify the rotation. Some pundits frame Alonso's moves as a message, no favourites, only performance. Others read it as a managerial gamble that risks destabilising a star used to guaranteed starts. The tension is not merely tactical, but at the heart of it sit questions about confidence, contract status, and the psychology of an elite athlete who measures self-worth in minutes played and decisive actions on the ball. Inside the club, the public line remains calm, but whispers of a management aware and a locker room handling are impossible to mute when a player of his profile is involved. If Alonso's rotation keeps delivering results, the argument for ruthless selection will strengthen. If cracks grow, the coach will face the dual task of restoring form and restoring trust, a combination that has sunk many a managerial tenure. The surrounding narrative thickens because this situation is not isolated. It dovetails with questions about how to fit different attacking talents around Kylian Mbappé and how to reconcile individual brilliance with a collective defensive and pressing template Alonso appears to demand. The stakes are practical. A team that cannot manage egos and form while competing on multiple fronts risks underperforming in competitions where margin for error is microscopic. For Vinicius, the path forward is painfully straightforward in theory, but complex in practice. Accept the rotation, recalibrate to the tactical demands, and let your football answer the questions. For Alonso, the calculus is just as brutal: rotate and risk unrest, or relent and risk principle. For the club and its supporters, the real worry is not a single night on the bench, but whether this episode signals a longer drift between a player whose talent once seemed unshakable and a coaching vision that asks for different contributions. Tonight's win will be recorded in the books, but the images, a star waiting, a terse exit, a cryptic post, will linger in the way seasons are won or lost, not merely with trophies but with the fragile alchemy of trust, form and timing. And as Madrid moves on to the next fixtures, everyone will be watching whether the gap narrows or widens, because that answer could define the story of this campaign.